Looking at tone through the lens of a newsreader for reasons that I mentioned a couple of days ago, because it is quite a different kind of skill. And if you're doing some commercial reads or narration or ebook learning or anything like that, then you can extrapolate the information you need from listening to this particular part of our audio series on how to get a better broadcast, podcast and video voice. We continue in a few weeks' time on intonation. We're also going to be talking about the speed of a read, pause, projection, volume, and health matters to do with the voice as well over the course of the next several months. So yeah, appropriate emotional tone in the news. You would appear to be a robot or maybe even a psychopath if as a newsreader you read every single story with the same amount of tone of voice, from a landslide burying children in a school to a tap dancing ferret. Yeah, you can see surely that both of those stories need a completely different tone. One is much more serious and another one is lighter, so you can use a different tone. And as I mentioned a few days ago, tone, yeah, is to do with pitch and attitude, and it's also to do with speed, and it's also to do with phraseology and lightness of touch or not. All of these things interconnect. You can see that in the past, I'm just going off at a bit of a tangent, in the past, in my younger days as a cub reporter and a cub presenter, I was sent on voiceover training, and I had half an hour over the course of 5 years. Half an hour. You can see how much more integrated everything is, much more involved. Everything is interconnected, from breathing to reading and inflection and projection and phonation and resonation and the understanding of a story, and how breathing is the key thing to getting a better broadcast, podcast and video voice. Half an hour doesn't even touch the sides, does it? So you need to give appropriate emotional weight to the script depending on its content and context. Now, although as a newsreader, certainly in the UK, you shouldn't be wailing in grief over a royal death or announce with anger the latest unemployment figures, you can and should usually show some understanding of the significance of the story in your tone of voice. This is because of what we call universal emotions, ones which reflect your humanity, your concern for your community. These might be a slight serious or sad tone at mass deaths, for example, a plane crash and the murder of a child and so on. And doing this will make you appear more human by showing empathy as opposed to sympathy and an understanding of the story without editorialising it. Yeah? So you can see that a story of a family killed in a house fire will be read in a different way to a story of the Prime Minister announcing a package of economic measures for the steel industry, which will be read in a different way to the discovery of a great bearded newt discovered on a nature reserve, which will be read in a different way to someone winning £1 million on the lottery on her 16th birthday on the very first line she ever bought, as well as passing her driving test and getting engaged. Yeah, the overall tone of each of those stories are going to be pitched slightly differently. A family has been killed in a house fire. The Prime Minister has announced a package of economic measures for the steel industry. A great bearded newt has been discovered on a nature reserve. A teenager has won £1 million on the lottery on her 16th birthday. Yeah, you can see how the tone is different for each of those. So, in reverse, that final one, light, bright, fun, almost incredulous tone with a smile on your face. That previous one, light, but it's not overtly funny, although it's a good news story. The steel story, neither good nor bad, and because of that, and because it's a political story, it'll be read in a more neutral tone, but the first one is obviously sad and serious as well. It's not to say that story one, yeah, the one about the family in the house fire, will be read with the same amount, albeit different, emotion as the story 4, but you can allow yourself some empathy, reflecting your humanity and showing concern for those affected. And the same might go for stories of impending disaster, which could wreak havoc on a neighbourhood, to your viewers or listeners, your neighbours, your clients, such as a severe weather incident or the death of a beloved royal. And within those examples, there may be different levels of empathy, sub-levels, if you like, depending on the particular circumstances. I said the word context earlier on. One child killed in a building fire, or a whole family. A hurricane that devastates a city, or a state, or severe flooding which has affected farmland and roads, but no loss of life. The royal who expectedly dies in her sleep at the age of 101, or the royal who dies unexpectedly and suddenly in public in a Parisian underpass in the middle of the night being chased by photographers just as she starts a new life. You can see how there are different levels of tone and subtlety depending on the story, the content and the context. So consider your message and its meaning and receiving, your understanding of the subject, what it's about, its context, and how it'll be received by those who can't give you instant feedback. Tomorrow, changing tonal tracks as Get a Better Broadcast podcast and video voice continues. To all you newsreaders out there, you got a tricky job. Get in touch with me if you wish. On Twitter, I'm Tweeter Stewart, TWEETERSTEWART, and from London, I'm back tomorrow with more.